everyone, welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfield, and here are 3 important things to pay attention to for the upcoming trading week. Now, before we dive into that, can we talk about what happened last week? Dramatic volatility. If you're trading anything to do with commodities, gold, silver, natural gas, all over the place, huge volatility. Maybe that had to do with the dollar index. So for all you Forex traders out there, massive volatility as well. But wait, we're not done. Let's go to the safety and security of the bond markets. Wipe your brow for that one, that 10-year, that 30-year, all over the place as yields were volatile because of expectations about what the Fed may do at the December FOMC meeting. But we're not done. You look at the equity markets, NASDAQ ripping to the upside for the second week in a row, S&P posting nice gains, Dow slight gains, and well, the Russell, it's doing its own thing. Big down week for the Russell. You also had Microsoft making all-time highs, and that may have something to do with their earnings calendar, which was released recently. So let's talk about our earnings calendar for this week. We have 988 companies reporting earnings, and there are a couple nice names in here that you should recognize. So let's kick things off on Monday. You have Tyson Foods and SLF, that's Sun Life Financial. On Tuesday, you have Home Depot, On Holdings, and Tencent Music Group. Wednesday, some big names as well. You have Cisco, TJ Maxx, Palo Alto Networks, Target, and JD.com. Now, this one's going to be important because there are a lot of retail companies reporting earnings this week. So pay close attention to how these ones pan out because it may give you clues as to the sector overall. How are retailers doing? Right now, the expectations aren't that great, but I'll show you that here in just a second when we look at the upcoming retail sales announcement. All right, tail end of the week, we've got Thursday brings you Walmart, Alibaba, oh yes, Applied Materials, NetEase, Ross Stores, and WMG, that's Warner Music Group, and finally rounding out the week with BJ Wholesale Club. So as I mentioned, lots of retail names in there, so keep your eye on those as it may set the tone for the markets going forward. But right now, the big driver is still going to be inflation. I know we keep talking about this one over and over and over again, so let's talk about the inflation data that's coming out this week. We start things off on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. This is your historical chart of Consumer Price Index month over month changes. Now you can see that the previous two have surged a little bit. Expectations are for right now, keep your eye on the right-hand side of that chart. Oh, wow, 0.1 are the expectations. So right now, most analysts are expecting a significant decline in inflation, which of course would bode well for any Fed decision. Remember, they're going to keep raising these rates if inflation continues to rise. If we get a nice decline in inflation and sustain that, maybe the pause will be prolonged and maybe even some cuts here as they are expecting cuts to start happening in 2024 with regards to interest rates, which will probably help out some of the banks as well. All right, let's keep on moving to our second component of this. That was CPI Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Well, let's keep things moving along and look at the next announcement, which will happen on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that is going to be the Producer Price Index, or PPI. Now, as you can see here on this chart, going back into early 2021, it's definitely coming down significantly off of those peaks. But right now, for the past couple of months, it's been relatively flat, about 0.3%. And lo and behold, what are the expectations? They were coming out right at 0.3%. So right now, analysts are expecting consumer prices to have dropped by a little bit, whereas producer prices have stayed the same. Of course, there's going to be some kind of disconnect there, and it'll ultimately come back to an equilibrium point. If producers aren't feeling their costs lower, why would they pass that savings on to consumers? And that may actually tick up inflation. However, if the consumer numbers keep declining, maybe that means that we just haven't felt the numbers decline for producers yet. So it's this, which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of dilemma. We'll see what happens here with our announcements happening Tuesday and Wednesday with our inflation data. Now, the final piece for the week, as I mentioned, retail sales are going to start to play a factor here. And of course, going into the holiday season, we like to see spending, spend. We're coming up on Black Friday. Let's spend a lot of money. Don't spend a lot of money, guys. Be frugal. It's not about the gifts you buy people. It's about the love you give them and the friendship and connection that you give people, not gifts. Anyway, let's go into the retail sales numbers for Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you notice, things have been looking pretty good. We've been staying right around 0.7% for the past 3 months. Well, what are they expecting for the upcoming reading on Wednesday? Oh boy, not going to stay positive. Actually going negative to the tune of negative 0.3. Now, that means that the month of October was not very good. Retail sales numbers looking pretty bleak for the month of October. Maybe they'll start to pick up, but right now the expectations are that we are going to see a contraction in retail sales, which would be the first contraction in about 7 months. So not a great thing to see, but keep your eye again on those retail sales numbers. We got Walmart and Target and Ross Stores, TJ Maxx, all that stuff. A lot of those names may have an influence on this announcement going forward. So that, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must Knows. We will see you next week.